You ever meet a woman who seems perfect, confident, charming, magnetic, but something about her feels off? Deep down, you sense a story she's not telling you. Ignore that feeling, and it could cost you years of your life, your emotional energy, and maybe even your self-respect. The truth? Women reveal patterns about their past without even realizing it, clues that speak louder than their words. I'm about to show you 7 signs she slept with a lot of men. And the fourth one is the most dangerous manipulation tactic I've ever seen a woman use. As a relationship coach, I've watched countless men realize too late they ignored the signs. They thought everything was fine until it wasn't. Don't be that guy. Spot these patterns early, and you free yourself to find a relationship that truly works for you. Subscribe and share in the comments a moment you suspected something was off in a past or current relationship. Your story might be exactly what another man needs to hear to avoid the same trap. Because in just a moment, I'm going to reveal the first sign, and trust me, it's one most men mistake for a good thing. Number 1. She's too comfortable with intimacy too soon. Now, I want you to really hear me here, because this is where most men get it wrong. You meet a woman, and within days, sometimes hours, she's talking about physical closeness, like it's ordering coffee. She sits across from you, locks eyes, maybe throws in a sly comment about past experiences, and you're thinking, wow, she's confident, she's liberated, she's into me. No, my friend. What you're seeing might not be confidence. It might be emotional erosion. A healthy woman, one who values connection, will have a natural barrier when it comes to intimacy, not because she's shy or repressed, but because she understands its weight. She knows that real closeness is meant to build over time, layered with trust, vulnerability, and emotional investment. When that barrier is missing, it's not liberation, it's a red flag. It means those boundaries have been crossed so many times they no longer exist. Think about it like a lock that's been forced open too many times. At some point, it doesn't protect anything anymore. It just hangs there, useless. That's what happens when a woman has repeated high-intensity encounters without the emotional foundation. The meaning is stripped away, and intimacy becomes mechanical. Something to do, not something to feel. Watch the little signs. Does she blush when the conversation turns intimate? Does she have moments where she hesitates, where her body language says she's processing what this means? Or does she glide through it like she's been down this road 1,000 times? Does she casually brush your knee, lean in just enough to make you feel the spark, without the slightest flicker of vulnerability? That's not chemistry, that's muscle memory. The real danger, you'll mistake her lack of modesty for deep connection. You'll think, we've got this crazy spark, it's fate. But the truth is, she's reenacting a script she's played before, and you're just the latest co-star. The words feel familiar to her because they are familiar. The rhythm, the timing, the way she touches you, it's all practiced. And here's what's brutal. When intimacy loses its emotional weight, it's almost impossible to get it back. You can't recreate the magic of firsts with someone who's made that moment a routine. You'll notice there's no buildup, no emotional tension, no sense of rarity. The bond you think you're forming? It's weaker than you realize because the glue, emotional exclusivity, is missing. So here's my warning. Don't confuse instant comfort with genuine connection. Just because she's willing to cross the line early doesn't mean she's choosing you. It might mean the line doesn't exist anymore. And if that's the case, you're walking into a relationship where the most important bond, the one that grows from intimacy, is already broken before you even begin. Number 2, she carries a permanent emotional wall. This one is subtle, and it fools even the most emotionally intelligent men. She can sit across from you, smiling, laughing, engaging in playful banter. She might even share stories from her life, funny ones, charming ones, maybe even a few vulnerable moments that seem deep. But here's the truth. You're not getting the real her. You're getting the performance. A woman with a permanent emotional wall has mastered the art of letting you feel close without ever letting you be close. It's like she's giving you a tour of her house, but keeping every important door locked. You can peek through the hallway, admire the decor, maybe step into the living room, but the rooms where the real stories are kept, those stay shut. This wall is not the same as healthy boundaries. Boundaries protect you both while you get to know each other. This is different. This is a defense mechanism built brick by brick over years of bonding deeply, losing, and deciding, never again. Every man before you has contributed to those bricks, some through betrayal, others through breakups that left her raw. Now she's a fortress. You'll notice it when conversations start to hover on the surface. Ask her about her fears, her childhood, the defining moments that shaped her, and she'll pivot. Maybe she'll crack a joke. Maybe she'll answer in vague cliches. Maybe she'll subtly change the subject so smoothly you barely notice. But deep down, you'll feel it. She's holding something back. Here's where it gets dangerous for you. A man who's serious about connection will naturally share parts of himself first, hoping it inspires her to do the same. You'll open up about your struggles, your ambitions, your past heartbreaks, and she'll respond warmly, maybe even in a way that makes you think she gets it. But her response will lack matching depth. She's reacting, not reciprocating. Over time, this creates an imbalance. You're giving more than you're receiving. You're investing emotionally into a relationship that's capped from the start. And when conflict hits, as it always does, her wall becomes impenetrable. Instead of working through the problem, she might shut down, disappear for a while, or decide the relationship just isn't working. That's not because she's confused. It's because she's learned that staying behind the wall feels safer than risking intimacy. So pay attention. If weeks turn into months and you're still circling the same surface-level conversations, still feeling that invisible gap between you no matter how close you get physically, it's not in your head, it's the wall. And loving someone who hides behind it will drain you, slowly and quietly, until you wake up realizing you've been alone the whole time. Number 3, she has an overcrowded male network. You've probably heard the phrase, "they're just friends." And yes, sometimes that's true. But when a woman's social circle is heavily male, when her phone lights up all day with messages from guys you've never met, when she somehow has a story about this one male friend for every topic you bring up, you're looking at a pattern, not a coincidence. Here's what you need to understand. Women who constantly keep multiple men in their orbit aren't just naturally friendly. In many cases, it's a validation loop. It's about always having a stream of male attention flowing in, no matter her relationship status. It's a quiet, constant hit of, "I'm wanted, I'm attractive, I'm relevant," and that's addictive. Watch for the signs. She maintains contact with ex-boyfriends, plural. She has male best friends who have made it clear they'd take things further if given the chance. When you ask about them, she brushes it off with, "Oh, he's harmless," or "We've known each other forever." But the truth is, harmless men don't send midnight texts. Harmless men don't conveniently call when you're out of town. Another tell? Her female friendships are minimal, strained, or practically non-existent. Why? Because close friendships with women require emotional reciprocity and depth. That's harder to maintain when you've trained yourself to seek validation in quick, surface-level hits from men. Male friends don't usually demand emotional vulnerability. They just offer attention and often flirtation. And then there's the unspoken backup plan. You might think she's loyal, and maybe she believes she is. But deep in her subconscious, she's keeping doors open. If your relationship ends or even hits a rocky patch, those friends can become replacements in a matter of days. She doesn't have to start from scratch. She just promotes someone from the roster. Here's the hard truth. A woman who's constantly plugged into a network of male attention isn't truly available. Not emotionally, not mentally. And no matter how much she insists, they're just friends, you'll always feel the quiet pull of competition, and that's not a foundation for trust. Number 4, she uses intimacy as currency. This one is dangerous, not just because it's manipulative, but because it's so easy to miss until you're already hooked. You might think you're sharing genuine moments of closeness, but what you're actually in is a transaction. She's not giving intimacy, she's trading it. Here's how it plays out. Things are tense between you. Maybe you've disagreed on something. Maybe you've said no to a request. Maybe she's caught in a lie. Suddenly, her body language shifts. She becomes softer, more affectionate, maybe even physically seductive. And just like that, the tension dissolves. You feel closer again. Problem solved, right? Wrong. The problem didn't go away. It just got paid off. On the flip side, when she's upset or wants to make a point, intimacy is the first thing she withholds. Not because she's genuinely not in the mood, but because she knows it gets a reaction. It's punishment dressed up as boundaries. She's learned that your desire for closeness can be leveraged to get what she wants, whether that's an apology, a favor, or your silence. This is not natural feminine intuition. This is learned strategy. Women who have spent years in short, high-turnover relationships often figure out which tools work fastest to regain control. And physical intimacy, when weaponized, is one of the most powerful. It's the ultimate bargaining chip because it taps into your biology, your emotions, and your ego all at once. The key word here is timing. Pay attention to when the affection flows and when it dries up. Is it spontaneous, or does it always seem to arrive right after you've done something she wanted? Does it vanish exactly when she's displeased? If the timing feels too precise to be coincidence, it's probably not. Because make no mistake, when intimacy becomes currency, love becomes business. And in that kind of business, you're never truly an equal partner. You're just a customer who doesn't realize he's paying. Number 5. She has mastered the art of reading and controlling men. There's a difference between a woman who understands men and a woman who studies them. The first is natural. She's observant, empathetic, intuitive. The second is deliberate. She's been in enough relationships with enough different types of men that she's basically run her own private lab on male behavior. And now, she knows exactly which buttons to press and when. At first, it feels amazing. She compliments you in a way that hits exactly where your ego lives. She notices the details you wish more people saw, the way you carry yourself, how you take charge, your ambition. You feel understood in a way that's rare. But here's where you need to be careful. Genuine understanding grows over time. Instant, perfect compatibility is often just a reflection of how quickly she's read you. She can identify your strengths and, more importantly, your insecurities faster than you think. And once she has that map, she can play you like a song. When she wants to pull you closer, she feeds your pride. When she wants to pull you off balance, she pokes at the cracks in your confidence. One minute, you feel like her hero. The next, you're questioning yourself and craving her reassurance. The danger here is that the manipulation is subtle. She's not storming into your life with obvious demands. She's shaping your emotional state in ways that keep her in control. She knows when to be sweet, when to be distant, when to praise, and when to let silence do the work. Every move is calculated to keep you invested and unsure at the same time. The scariest part? Men often mistake this for passion. They confuse emotional volatility with deep connection. The highs feel intoxicating. The lows make you chase harder. And before you know it, you're addicted to the cycle. That's not love. It's conditioning. If you start to feel like every emotion in your relationship is being managed, it's because it is. And once you see the strings, you can't unsee them. That's when you have a choice. Keep dancing for her approval, or walk away and reclaim the control she's been holding all along. Number 6. She has no shame or discretion about her past. Let's get something straight. This isn't about policing someone's history or expecting perfection. We're talking about the natural sense of privacy and selectivity that protects emotional intimacy. When that's gone, it says a lot about how she views connection and how she might view you. A woman with no shame or discretion about her past doesn't just share stories about her exes. She tells them casually, like she's recounting a weekend trip. She might openly discuss the number of people she's been with or give you vivid details about past relationships, almost as if she's trying to prove she's experienced. And here's the kicker: she sees it as a positive selling point. You'll notice there's no hesitation in her delivery, no softening of the language, no sense that certain things are too personal to broadcast. That's because, to her, they aren't personal anymore. They've been normalized through repetition. When something intimate has happened enough times, it stops feeling rare. And when it's not rare, it's not sacred. Ask her a question about her past and watch the reaction. If she becomes defensive, flips it back on you, or accuses you of being insecure or old-fashioned, that's not just deflection. It's an unwillingness to acknowledge how her past might affect the present. She's not engaging with the impact, only the argument. This lack of discretion can also bleed into how she handles your relationship. The same way she casually shares details about her past, she might share details about you with others. The boundary between private and public is thinner, and once that line is crossed, trust becomes fragile. So, pay attention to how she speaks about her history. Is there a sense of care in how she talks about intimate experiences? Or is it just another story in the lineup? Does she respect the weight of the connection you're building? Or does it feel like you're simply the next chapter in a long, casual series? Because if she can't see why discretion matters, she won't see why you matter. At least, not in the way you need her to. Number 7. She has a history of short-term relationships. At first glance, this one might seem harmless. People date, things don't work out, they move on. That's life, right? Sure. But when you start seeing a consistent pattern, relationships that never last more than a few months, connections that burn bright and then vanish, that's not bad luck. That's a blueprint. In these cases, every relationship she's had follows the same arc. Intense attraction in the beginning, rapid escalation, and then an equally rapid collapse. She'll describe the endings as mutual decisions or just not meant to be. But look closer. The stories usually center on external factors, timing, circumstances, the other person's flaws, never on her own inability to build something that lasts. Why does this matter? Because real, long-term commitment isn't built during the honeymoon phase. It's forged in the work that comes after. When conflicts arise, when novelty fades, when you're forced to navigate differences, that's where depth is formed. But if she's never stayed long enough to experience that stage, she's never developed the tools to handle it. This pattern also points to something deeper, a craving for the high of new attraction. The butterflies, the constant texting, the rush of being desired, it's addictive. And just like any addiction, once the buzz wears off, she starts looking for her next fix. The problem is, lasting relationships require stability, and stability doesn't give the same rush as novelty. So what should you do? Pay attention to her relationship history, not just her stories about it. Ask questions. Listen for patterns. If she's never had a relationship that made it past 6 months, that's not a random streak. It's a sign she's untested in the parts of love that actually make it last. Because once you see the pattern, you realize it's not about finding the right guy. It's about avoiding the discomfort of staying with him. And if that's her history, it might just be your future, unless you walk away. When you step back and look at these 7 signs together, a picture starts to form. It's not about judging someone's past for the sake of judgment. It's about recognizing how patterns shape people. Every one of these signs is a thread in a bigger tapestry, and that tapestry tells you whether a woman can truly build the kind of connection you're looking for. Too many men ignore the warnings because they're blinded by attraction or because they hope they'll be the exception. They think love will change her patterns. But patterns don't change just because you care. They change when a person decides to confront them head-on, and that's rare. You've now seen how a lack of emotional barriers, permanent emotional walls, constant male attention, weaponized intimacy, calculated manipulation, disregard for discretion, and a history of short-term relationships are not random traits. They're the footprints of experience, and those footprints lead somewhere. If you're paying attention, you'll see exactly where they go, and you can decide if that's a road you're willing to walk. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share the signs you've recognized, because another man might be living them right now without realizing it. And if you want to keep sharpening your instincts, subscribe so you don't miss the conversations that will keep you 2 steps ahead. Your standards are not negotiable. Protect them like your future depends on it, because it does.